Welcome to Softcore History.
Welcome into Softcore History. I'm your host, Dan Rochester, and I'm joined, as always, with Jake Goldman.
Heyo, first mention. Not Rob Fox.
You're always the first mention.
This is weird.
I always try to slight Rob.
He would not introduce me if he could.
No. I would go the entire episode without mentioning his name. If you want to do the intro, go ahead, Jake.
And joining us, as always, is Robert Edward Fox III.
Yep.
What's the other one? There's a confirmation name I missed.
Leonard. Patron saint of POWs.
Is he?
Yeah. And something else, but I can't remember. He's famous for the king. He did something for the King of France. I don't know, his prayers worked or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. And the King of France was like, "You're such a good, holy man that you can have all the land you can ride around on a donkey in a day." So
I would be kicking the shit out of that donkey to make
You
it go
ride that
faster.
donkey till it dies.
Till
you
it
give
dies.
that. You just have like a meal sack full of cocaine, and you are smacking it on the ass.
Just like actually donkey punching it.
Yeah, and literally, donkey punching it.
Do you go straight line, or do you just find the dopest spot and ride a big circle around it?
I would have been like, cool, I'm going to start, let me go to where I want to start.
Yeah.
And where I would just go to the south of France and like start at one point on a beach and then just make a big fucking U and then just get to another point on a beach. I would just have, what's that country? Monaco? I would just have Monaco.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Just the French Riviera.
Yeah, literally.
Carve out a nice chunk.
The Côte d'Azur, as they call it.
Man, that language just sounds like someone about to spit up phlegm.
Danny Donkey was actually my nickname with the cartel, my brief time with them. Yeah,
Danny Donkey?
Danny Donkey. I don't know what it meant.
When Dan was a pledge, they made him put airplane bottles up his asshole for UCF Knights football games.
Yeah, I mean, no alcohol was served at the stadium, so I had to do what I had to
can
do,
eat so many balloons, guys.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, his butt
It was a weird Fiji UCF hazing technique, but all the pledges had to eat a bunch of balloons and go to Mexico.
And
for
you
spring
know,
break.
it's really easy for me to just squeeze one out with Crohn's disease.
Yeah, I was gonna say you just drop them out.
Yeah.
And leave it to UCF brilliance to send people into Mexico from America with drugs in their butts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Jake. A degree from UCF means virtually nothing. That's why we'd always paddleboard in lakes full of gators.
To be fair, we weren't much different there.
No.
Just totally not thinking about the gator system there. But
Yeah, you have predators roaming your campus.
actually, yeah, we do.
Murderers, not just predators.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I'm not just talking about Urban Meyer's players.
Oh!
They raped and murdered.
All
I
that
don't remember
goodwill
any
we've
rape,
built in the last few
Well,
weeks.
Let's just assume.
All these new fans that are tuning in, maybe for the first time. We just squandered your listen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're gone.
They're
Yeah.
gone.
Bye.
See ya.
It's been real. Hey, Dan, tell us what we're talking about today.
Well, why don't you let me lead the show, Jake?
Oh, okay.
You want a little inner fight in for this show?
We never didn't let you lead the show. You
Yeah,
actually
fine.
handed it off to Jake. You were like,
You
Jake,
said, hey, you
Jake,
want to do the intro?
you do my
I kind of
fucking
ran
job.
Well, for
now.
our counterpart. Well, is he our counterpart?
Who?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes, he's our colleague.
Made me say his name? God damn it.
Joke's on you.
Yeah, no, so today we got a super interesting topic. It's called the East Indian Trading Company, or East Indian Company. They have, multiple variations of the name. I was kind of inspired by this topic by the Suez Canal, the debacle that happened there.
Where they couldn't turn the boat?
Well, the boat got stuck for, a week?
Yeah, and it got freed on Passover.
Yeah, freed
of the-
from Egypt on
Because of the
Passover.
tides, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting how that works.
Did a little deep dive when I was high, just kind of like how that.
Can I actually elaborate on that a little bit?
Go ahead.
It also makes sense because there was a lot of sex toys on that boats, and your people are a bunch of dildos, so it works out.
Whose
Yeah.
people?
Jake's.
Jewish people.
Oh, Jewish people. Okay. I didn't know if you were referring to the Egyptians or.
No.
Yeah, I'm very Egyptian looking.
Yeah. I'm Team Egypt all the way.
Yeah. He's a big Anwar Sadat guy.
Well, you guys were.
No, I'm Team Ancient Egypt.
You guys were.
all
okay,
the way.
okay.
You were
Ramesses-
Egyptian transplants, right?
Yeah, I'm a Ramesses II voter.
Yeah, he was all hardcore until his fucking kid died.
Like what you.
Yeah. Everyone's what's that old Mike Tyson saying? Everyone's got a plan until
Till they
God
get punched
kills
in
your
the
firstborn
face.
son.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, guess you should have painted the ram's blood above the doorway, idiot. The guy turned a staff into a snake in front of his face. He's like, I don't buy it.
Speaking of which, do you ever find out about St. Patrick and those snakes?
I'm not even touching that, dude. It's so hotly contested on the internet.
It was real snakes.
Real snakes.
Well, so biologists
we're the
say,
Catholics here.
Biologists say that snakes haven't lived in Ireland for way before St. Patrick
Because of
was
St.
there.
Patrick.
No.
I don't know if I trust
Science.
on this. Yeah.
I mean, his name was Dr. Emmett Goldberger, but
Well, that's a
no, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, I did a little deep dive kind of on just world trade, supply chain. Got into a really dark rabbit hole there over the weekend when I was high. So I figured I'd go even darker with the East Indian Trading Company. Or East Indian
Is it
Company.
not a fun history?
Not the funnest
For whom?
for the world.
Fun for their CEOs, probably.
Yeah.
I assume. None of them got Kenneth Lade, as far as I can recall.
No, nobody got Kenneth Lade. But, you know, they did some interesting stuff that kind of impacted the world as we know it. So let's just get into it.
Yeah, Dan was talking big geopol before you got here today. He was just like, it affected so much. And
The
They
East
had their
India
hands,
Trading Company?
Yeah, they
I
had their
assume
hands
they
in like
did.
literally everything.
Yeah. Because they were bringing all the shit
but
from
like
other
today,
places.
he was
The-
talking like today times.
Yeah, like the sun never
supply
sets
chain.
on the British Empire, and it's because of the East Indian Company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, tell me more.
So started as a few boats making voyages into the unexplored seas on behalf of the Queen, at least in England's mind. And it became one of the largest empires, an army of up to 260,000 soldiers, one of the largest economies in the world, and one of the biggest drug dealers and slave traders in the globe.
This company had 226,000 military people.
260,000 soldiers, yes.
Wait, so
Soldiers and sailors.
Sailor, yeah.
Oh, okay. It's
So-
Well,
still if you're
naval
if,
soldiers.
If your trading company has a team of mercenaries,
Yeah, well, I would assume they're kind of fudging that. So, like, they're probably counting like a person on a boat with cannons
sure.
as a
Well, we'll get into
sort
it,
of
but
enlisted person.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
it all
Some mass
derived
shooting.
kind of. It all kind of starts. This is a little bit of an origin story here. 1577. A man by the name of Francis Drake is authorized by Queen Elizabeth I to go on a little raiding expedition.
yeah, he was a state-sponsored terrorist.
Yeah.
As a Catholic, I can say that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He
So
was fighting a Catholic crown.
his boat and 4 others sail across the Atlantic. They lose 3 boats and just traveling across the Atlantic to South America.
That's just what happened back then.
Yeah, you lose boats.
You just,
lot.
yeah, it's
And-
like if today, like the 3 of us, like were like, hey, let's all go meet on Rainy Street and grab a drink, and we all drove there separately, and 2 of us just got in horrible car crashes and died along the way.
Right. And we'll get to the mortality rate with the East Indian Company, the EIC as I'll refer to it.
Is it low?
It's not low.
Oh, okay.
Working for this
Surprisingly not.
company, yeah, working for this company was weirdly deathly, you know.
Real boomer bust.
Yeah, kind of.
Weird.
So Francis Drake sails across the Atlantic, hits up Spanish South American ports, robs them blind, takes a few boats himself, goes through the Strait of Magellan, all the way up the West Coast, chills in California for a bit, then decides to YOLO as the first Englishman across the Pacific in 1579. Runs into these little things called the West Indies.
Yeah.
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 Like
Okay.
like the Philippines and stuff.
I
Yes.
believe that's Indonesia.
Oh,
Maybe.
Is the West Indies
No, wait,
Indonesia?
the West Indies. No, you mean the East Indies.
East Indies.
Yeah, West Indies are in the
yeah.
Atlantic.
Yeah, the West Indies is the Caribbean.
Yeah.
You're right.
The East Indies, I think, is like Indonesia.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would make sense. The East.
Scratch that from the record.
Yeah.
Well, we're all here to help each other.
Yeah.
That's right. Not drag
Some
each
more
other
than others.
through
Yeah,
the mud.
Yeah.
Sparks up a friendship with Sultan Babala and loads up the Golden Hind, which is his ship, with a large haul of
That's a rad pirate's ship name.
Golden Hind.
the Golden Hind. Yeah.
Yeah.
With something
Gold bud.
wildly exotic to Western European whites, spices.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm really thrilled you're actually talking about this, and we'll probably get into spice talk a little bit more later, but what were they doing before this? Was it even salt? Like, what were they using on food?
They definitely had salt.
I believe they just
That's
made
how you kept meat.
They made
it cured it, right?
they just
But
made
was that it?
they just made a porridge. right?
They didn't
That
have
just
like
lived off
pepper,
of?
or they probably had like garden herbs.
Wood?
I would imagine.
Maybe throw some wood in there.
It wasn't
Cherry
totally
wood?
flavorless. All right, I know to white people mayonnaise is spicy, but yeah, they had some stuff.
Bake some bread.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that.
First off, they had cheese. Should be noted too.
Cheese, yes, because we figured out in Sumer that if you leave the
You just
cow
leave a
the cow
fucking
udder
sack of milk out. Yeah.
turns into
Yeah.
healing cheese.
Yeah. First you get the cottage cheese, and then you just keep going from there.
It's like, well, if I leave it out in the sun for longer, what happens?
Yeah, we'll just put some leaves in it too. See how that goes. Hold on, look at the goat's one too.
Kill that goat.
That goat jizzes that stuff too. Let me just get that.
So he's got a ship full of spices, sails around Africa, back to England. 1580 gets back, celebrated as a national hero.
First Brit to circumnavigate, right?
That's insane.
Yeah, knighted by the Queen, gave investors for people that invested in his journey 5,000x their return.
That's a great ROI.
It's great ROI.
That's GameStop ROI.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Topical.
No one was short squeezing him.
No. 1588, our boy Francis Drake gets the call again with Lord Charles to fuck up the Spanish Armada.
Sick. So what trading was going on, or they were just like, fuck it up?
Well, he was in the battle.
Yeah, we're not even at the East Indian Trading Company.
This is just like,
This
hey,
is
go
pre-
do
is
this
the
shit.
prequel.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. He was also. Are you going to talk about him banging the Queen?
I mean, so there's speculation. I couldn't find any hard evidence, but yeah, pretty much
Speculation
that Francis Drake was boning Queen Elizabeth I.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
the Virgin Queen, as it were.
Yeah.
Virginia was named after her, but she was getting it from Drake, and I think Walter Raleigh too. It was like both of them. Raleigh was.
She loved herself an adventurer.
I'm pretty sure, unofficially, like unconfirmed, at least based on rumors, Queen Elizabeth I and Pocahontas are Eskimo sisters.
With John Smith?
No, with Sir Walter Raleigh.
Oh, Raleigh was giving it to Pocahontas too?
Like later?
Yeah, he was after John Smith.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
She married Sir Walter Raleigh.
So he got her actually when she was like of legal
Yeah,
age.
I could be wrong about that. It was Francis Drake and someone else that she was like getting it. Let me look up who Clive Owen played in the second Elizabeth movie with Kate Blanchett.
Go for
right.
it.
Because
While you do
Clive
that-
Owen was banging her in that movie.
I'll describe how
What if it was just Clive Owen?
it is. He's a time traveler.
Yeah.
Like Nick Cage.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Francis Drake, Lord Charles, they fuck up the Spanish Armada because they have a small fleet of faster, more compact ships that just wreaked havoc on their colossal, once thought of invincible group of boats.
Yeah, that armada was a pretty big armada.
But like, turning radius was shit.
Yeah.
They just giant, clunky boats.
Rob knows who it is now.
Yeah, I was right. It was Sir Walter Raleigh.
Okay. Yeah, so they fuck up the armada. That's cool.
Yep. So they captured, brought back plenty of Spanish and Portuguese ships and cargo, which kind of sprung their ability to sail globally. Because before this, like Francis Drake's first expedition across the Atlantic, he lost 3 ships just getting there.
And it was kind of a guerrilla expedition. They weren't the main naval power in the world prior.
No, their ships were kind of trash.
Yeah.
They were kind of trash-ass ships for England at the time. But they get all these Spanish boats that allow them to travel further and kind of get in the mix with Spain and Portugal to dominate the Far East trade market in the Indian and Pacific Oceans. 1591, Queen Elizabeth grants London merchants permission to sail those oceans. So these are all like kind of precursors to what kind of leads to the East India Company.
She was just like, have at it, boys.
Yeah, like what was holding them up before, I guess? Just like,
Fucking nothing.
should we do it? What does
For
the
whatever
Queen
reason,
say?
it seems like everything I read, you have to like pass everything through the Queen back then.
Yeah, I mean, it is an absolute monarchy.
Yeah. So
It's got to be a terrible job when they were actually doing that.
she has the Queen's just micromanaging every little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Like what color are we gonna paint the hall?
When do we get off on Friday?
Yeah, she's like, just get out of here. I'm trying to get dicked down by Francis Drake.
Or Sir Walter Raleigh.
Yeah.
Whoever's around.
Frank and Ralph.
Speaking
are
of
gonna
which-
give it to me.
1592, Sir Walter Raleigh captures the Madre de Dos.
The second mother.
Yes, this Madre de Dos.
Mother of 2. Actually, wait. Isn't that mother of 2?
Yeah, Madre
think
de
so,
Dos.
yeah.
Yeah, mother of two. Yeah.
When they brought it back to Dartmouth, it was the largest ship to ever enter an English port. It was chock full of valuable jewels, pearls, gold, silver, spices. But the most valuable thing other than the ship itself was the rudder, which is the marine handbook, which had a bunch of intel on China, India, Japan, and the rest of the Far East.
Wait, the rudder has like notes?
The rudder is the notes. It's a handbook.
So not the actual
Oh,
rudder.
not
on
the
back
rudder of the ship.
that steers the ship.
No, it's Rutter.
Oh.
Rudder. Okay.
Rudder.
Got it.
I don't know. I can't talk. We know
We're
this.
not.
This is well established.
Yeah, we're not here to expect correct pronunciation out of you.
I'm sure it's not even Madre de
How did you spell Deus, Dan?
Deus.
Deus.
Deus. Madre de Deus.
Mother of God.
Yeah.
It means mother of God, but also mother of God.
I don't know Spanish, man.
You don't know Latin letters. You don't even know alphabet that are based in it's the same alphabet basically.
Listen, I dated an Argentinian girl in college for 2 years, and I squandered that by not learning a single lick of Spanish.
That wasn't Spanish, though. Deus? Is Deus God? In Spanish? I think that's just Latin.
Mother of God. That's a cool name, actually.
That's a great name.
Mother.
Yeah.
It's way better than Mother of Two.
Like every time you see this giant ass ship coming on the horizon, Mother of God.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Madre de Deus. Yeah.
yeah. Well, they capture it. Sir Walter Raleigh captures that ship, and they get the kind of the playbook for the Far East.
So they just learned, and they're like, oh, here's what to do in China and India. Here's how to sail those waters. Here's what these people think like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's what to say to them.
That's got to be huge.
Here's a little bit of their alphabet and shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, you got to think, I mean, even today, doing business in the East is still, like, there's classes on how to just conduct yourself for, like, doing business meetings and things like that.
Yeah.
In Japan and in China and
Yeah.
other places. So having that kind of intel, I'm sure, is just, like, off to the races for...
Yeah. Well, dude, even today, so I read this hilarious thing a while back, like just the gulf between like Chinese social culture and American social culture, or Western social culture, I guess you could say, is just like way bigger than people give it credit for. And I discovered this by like reading this thing about the troll operations that all our major enemies are running. Like basically Iran and Russia and China are the big three for like troll operations.
Sure.
And they were just like, the Chinese one is horrible. Like they're not good at trolling on like social media and shit. And it's just because like they don't understand how they just understand like the nuances of the like Western world way less than Russia, which is basically a part of the Western world.
Right.
And Iran, which is
In between.
Yeah,
they have a lot of influence.
China's just more like to the point.
They really are, and then there's another thing that happened soon after that, where some Chinese official like gave a speech somewhere in Europe to like a bunch of EU people, and he was like kind of just a big like to the point dick about everything, and they were all pissed off. Like the EU people were all pissed off about it, and the Chinese guy was like, "What? I just said a speech."
Yeah.
Like yeah, so it's just, and that's now.
Yeah, right. That's
Where
right now.
I could talk to someone in China right now if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Let alone in 15, whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
90.
where you've never been. And
Right.
like you don't even know what to expect.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a huge start.
Yep. So they get this ship, they get this playbook. For the next 8 years, a lot of like lone wolf merchants kind of go out and do their thing, like Ralph Gitch. He kind of dips his toe into the water in that part of the world. And we really get rolling in 1599 when a group of merchants come together to form an alliance project to pitch to the Queen, coming in over 30,000 pounds or $4 million in today's money. Initially, they were denied, so they upped their investment to 68,000 pounds. And in 1600, I believe December 31st, the Governor and Company of Merchants of London, trading in the East Indies, was officially born. As a long name.
Yeah,
It's a trash name.
yeah, but they had the capital, man.
So someone had them drop the
yeah.
right? Don't call it the Facebook. Just call it Facebook.
Yeah, get rid of the Governor and Company
Yeah.
of Merchants of London. No, the whole name. Press East India Company. Boom.
That sounds good. Way better
Simple to
branding.
the point.
EIC.
Yeah.
You don't. The first thing you don't you don't blow money on branding first thing.
No, you got to get the LLC going, man.
Right.
Yeah.
You're filing the paperwork. You're getting everything kind of like in order before you actually launch.
That's literally not how companies are made anymore. Though everyone's like, "This is a cool idea," and then it's like,
Yeah, you do the branding first.
Yeah, everyone does the branding first.
Yeah.
Now, which is crazy. But
It's everything. Like you have to have a random name with a cool thing.
where's the gimmick?
It's like you got to call it like Sky Frog, and you sell
fucking Twitter
watches,
crawlers.
Yeah, whatever the fuck.
Well, I mean, there wasn't there a fucking company called Battle Frog that sponsored the Fiesta Bowl for a few years. I have no idea what they did.
Probably.
Yeah.
Battle.
Shouts to
Frog.
Battle Frog. If you want to sponsor the podcast, go ahead and reach out to
I
us.
assume Battle Frog is no longer existent. But
You think investing in the Fiesta Bowl was a
that was
poor
a
venture?
huge money laundering scheme on its own. But the worst bowl to possibly invest in is probably the Fiesta Bowl.
Fair enough. So this group of dudes, it's 6 dudes who run this whole operation out of Sir Thomas Smith's house.
Classic story.
Pretty much were awarded by Queen Elizabeth a stranglehold on trade for the English with all countries east of the Cape of Good Hope and west of the Strait of Magellan in Chile.
That's quite the fucking
That is from
huge
South
range.
Africa to Argentina.
yeah.
Yes. So any
From west to
merchant,
east.
any merchant found doing business in these seas without the proper license and approval from the newly found company were subject to forfeit their ships, cargo, and faced imprisonment to the royals' satisfaction.
Can you imagine if you were just like, a normal dude from India sailing around where you've been your entire life, and they're like, "Hey, what the fuck? What are you doing without Queen
That was
permission?"
just British people.
Just not for British. So if
okay.
any British ships go out there without this company's approval,
So if you're just an average British Joe with a boat, trying to rob India blind
Right.
to feed your family.
That's not state sponsored anymore.
If it's not state sponsored, if you're not a part of that company, you can't do it. How's he supposed to make a living?
yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So the company had
That's why I'm a
one
libertarian.
governor.
Good reason to be.
Yeah, and we should all be able to
Rob
India
other
blind.
countries.
I agree. Yeah.
Yes.
Especially on the open sea. Company had one governor who reported to the Queen, and then they made 24 directors under that governor who reported to a committee of proprietors that appointed them. Many of the hallmarks of the modern corporation were first popularized by the East India Company. For example, the company was the largest and longest lasting joint stock company of its day. So it raised capital by selling shares of the to
So
the
what
public.
you're saying is you could buy stock.
You could buy stock in the company.
You could.
Those dividends were probably way cooler back in the day. Like, here's a gold necklace from a mummy. Like, here you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the stock news. Of
It
the
was
day.
a pearl
Like,
necklace from a mermaid.
Yeah, we raided a pyramid and found
Fucking
all
treasure.
these cursed jewels. They're really expensive. And that's what makes stock go up. Now it's like CEO accidentally posts his penis on Instagram. Stock goes down 6%.
Yeah, right. No, God.
Well, they would actually have instead of like corporate board meetings, they had meetings like kind of town halls with all their stockholders. So they would just go in and start yelling.
That's awesome. I would love to be there.
Yeah, what's new about that? Every time I'm asked to weigh in on a stock through Cash App, AMC right now, I just write shit in all caps.
Just
I just write messages in all
rabble,
caps.
rabble.
Yeah, so their board meetings were essentially Wall Street bets.
That's awesome.
Yeah. 1601, Sir James Lancaster commands the first voyage for the East India Company aboard the Red Dragon.
Yes.
Only good names for
Yeah.
these ships.
Mother of God.
Mother
Red
of
I
Dragon.
Dragon.
actually
Red
prefer
Dragon.
mother of two. Fuck God. What's more impressive than a mother of two? Probably single.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no harder job.
Single mother of two.
Widow of two.
Coop,
Or
will you look up how to
I
say
don't know.
single mother of two in Spanish? I appreciate
Solo
that. 'Cause
madre.
that's what I'm going to name my ship after.
Solo madre de dos.
Yeah. Yeah. Solo madre de dos. That's my boat. The single mother of two.
Nothing
that's a
works harder than
strong
that.
woman.
And God, you sink your cash into it.
Madre soltera de dos. Yes.
Okay.
All right, great. That's my fucking boat. In fact, my car is pretty dusty. I'm just going to write that on the back of my car right now.
I feel like you shouldn't.
Saying why?
You're gonna scare people that read Spanish. They're gonna be like, "Why is this guy riding around in a car that says this?"
They're just going to think there's a single mother of two in the trunk?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Like
she
she's
was,
leaving
I was
a note.
shoving her in, and somehow she was able to write it on there.
It's like, this will be my warning.
Yeah.
So James Lancaster takes a 1,200-ton Portuguese ship, plunders that, sets up 2 English trading ports with that money in what is now Indonesia. 1603, Queen Elizabeth I dies. King James I takes over and invests more money in ships into this company.
And they didn't even have to fuck him.
We don't know.
He was just busy writing his Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elizabeth was just like getting dick down, and selling rights to everybody. And
King James was
just like, I'm going to write
really
my
interested
Bible.
in getting this book done.
James was like, I got to write about my imaginary friend Jesus, guys.
I don't need that kind of talk out of you. Easter just happened. You son of a
it's
bitch.
over. You got a year. You got until Christmas.
Guess that's a big holiday for you.
Yeah, it's a big W.
Or is that the Friday? Yeah.
Well,
it's a real good Friday for you, huh? You bastard.
Then you guys rewrite history and like, he disappeared. He's not in the cave. Rah, rah, rah. Like, yeah, okay, sure.
He rolled that rock.
Flattened fucking hippie.
Rolled
in the
that
cave.
rock out of the way.
Yeah,
and then
like,
he ascended into the sky 40 days
later. It'd be
later.
like if after the last time
think.
Florida
I think
lost the
it's 40
SEC
days later, right?
championship. No, he rose 3 days later, then ascended.
40 days later, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
No, it'd be like if after Florida lost the last SEC championship, Jake was like, no, actually 3 days later we came back and won it. It was played again and we won the SEC championship.
Yeah, exactly. Alabama's like, no, you guys just lied. I don't know what to say there.
I'm sorry. If you can't believe a prostitute in a graveyard, who can you believe?
That's a good point, man.
Yeah.
Wait, but hold on. He was chilling for 40 days after he moved the rock?
Well, he kind of just
he was going around.
He's saying his goodbyes.
Showing he was still
went
alive.
into the sky.
I feel like that part's not talked about a lot.
At one point, he showed up to a party, and there was one of the apostles, Doubting Thomas. His name is Doubting Thomas. Still a saint somehow. I don't think he should be. He's a loser. Just sound like Trump. Loser. Didn't believe.
Loser.
Yeah.
Well, everyone knows it.
Peter also denied him twice.
Shows up to a party, and Thomas is like, "You're not fucking Jesus." And Jesus was like, "Yeah, here's my hand." And he took Thomas's hand and was like, "Here, put your finger through my hole." And he made Thomas finger him.
Jesus just trolling Thomas.
Jesus made one of the apostles finger him to prove he was Jesus.
It's gross out. Just it was. Jesus had a couple carafes of wine that night. He's like, Thomas, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Just put your finger through.
He's like, look at this, you bitch. You don't think it happened?
Yeah. You think he did right after that? He did one of those 5-finger fillets with the knife game?
Well, the only person that was at the cross was bitch-ass John.
No, Mary Magdalene and his mom were there
Yeah,
too.
but I'm talking about the apostles.
Oh, yeah.
Of all the apostles, bitch-ass John was the only one at the cross.
Yeah.
Do you think Jesus was disappointed by that? He's like, God,
probably.
He's like, John.
He knew.
John showed up.
He knew.
That's it.
He knew it was going to happen.
It's like your birthday party.
Also, if I was Jesus, I would have been that angry too, because he rose from the dead, but he still remembered, he still got crucified. That still hurt. You know what I mean? If you get your dick cut off and then you get it sewn back on and everything's good again eventually, that still doesn't mean that you didn't feel your dick getting cut off.
You have that pain forever.
Yeah. That's with you forever.
Yeah.
He remembers getting crucified.
Right now.
And he's like, you bitch. Anyway.
Yeah, he ascends into the sky. Mary ascends into the sky.
Wait, the prostitute goes to heaven?
No, his mom.
No.
Oh.
Well, yes, the prostitute went to heaven, but Mary and Jesus' physical bodies went to heaven.
So you guys get the Tao, right?
No.
Where we don't see eye to
blind
eye?
faith.
No.
Okay.
I think you are just a doomed piece of shit.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we listen to a burning plant, so
Yeah.
it's really
Same
dumb.
guy. Same guy's doing all this.
You think it'd be more direct, is all I'm saying.
Well, where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
Actually, I would trick anyone. If I created a universe, I would just be playing dumb tricks all the time.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's just fuck these guys. They're like ants.
See what these monkeys can figure out.
All right, so let's get back on topic and talk about.
All right, that's enough about Jesus for this one.
Yeah,
you guys can follow me on Instagram for more Jesus talk.
Let's get into something a little bit more lighter. As they started to expand slowly in the 1600s, they get, they're pretty early on in the slave trade.
Yeah, as they sail around Africa, they start to think, hey, are there people here? And what can we use them for?
Yeah.
So I won't.
It's like Bitcoin.
We're gonna.
The value is exponential. People they're just looking at them like, what do we do? I don't know. Is this
Start
gonna
mining it, I guess.
Is this going to be a thing? Maybe. Let's just invest.
Yeah.
So they did enough shitty things that I don't think we have to address the whole slavery thing too much. It's pretty like, yeah, they.
What a sentence.
We don't have to cover that whole
Like
thing.
that's pretty much,
You know what happened. We know where that
we
goes.
know, yeah. They start in 1621 and they pretty much don't stop until the 1800s.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Black History Month is over.
We're just going to gloss over that.
We're glossing over
Dan's
this because
done talking about it.
350 years of terror, but yeah, sure.
I think we all, what if you're just like a history teacher at some high school and you're like, there were slaves. I think we all get the gist.
So anyway, Reconstruction. Yeah.
Yeah. So over the next few decades in the 1600s, after the 1621, like from 1620s to like the 1680s, they kind of set up shop in India, China. Even though East India Company was technically a private venture, its royal charter and battle-ready employees gave it political weight. Indian rulers invited local company bosses to court, extracted bribes from them, and recruited the company's muscle in regional warfares.
I was gonna say, yeah, the Mughal Empire, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, you like. So
They actually get into
this
a-
happens. This happens essentially every time there's colonialism from the discovery of America on, for sure. Where when Europeans show up, a lot of people have this idea of the Europeans show up and they just start cutting off everyone's heads, essentially. No. But they can't do that at first because they don't show up in numbers. But what happens is that certain smart but maybe short-sighted locals see this new power show up and are like, you know what? We can use these guys to fuck those guys.
And make a quick buck, yeah.
The reason the Aztecs went down, it wasn't because the Spanish are just mean and the Aztecs were like, you're just trying to live our lives. Like, everyone around the Aztecs fucking hated the Aztecs because they were also a colonial empire.
Right. Just
Subjecting everyone, just regional, subjecting everyone around them to whatever they wanted to do. So the people who they were fucking with were like, you know what? Let's use these guys to fuck those assholes, and maybe we'll figure out the rest later.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out.
No.
Well, yeah.
It was, but
they get into a 4-year war.
the Mughal Empire
With the
did the same
Mughal
thing. They were
Empire.
like, let's use these guys. The Mughal Empire was actually strong, though, and they just wanted to use the strength to like tip the scale. Because who were they fighting against?
Well,
The Sikhs or something?
just regional kind of like tribes, but they also get into a 4-year war with the East India Company. They beat the East India Company. It starts in 1686, goes till 1690.
Damn. That's a long one.
The East India Company loses, but they're given permission to stay in the country because that's a good idea.
Mistake.
Yeah. It's like if you beat cancer, but you just let it stay.
It's like, hey.
You just beat cancer, and you're like, oh, and the tumor's like, just a little bit? Can I just stay a little bit?
Like, all right,
and you're like, all right, tumor,
You're
you
so cute.
sweetheart, with your
Yeah.
little tooth.
They do grow teeth. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's like, it's a little skin,
Yeah.
little mole on your skin, and it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, that's cool.
Just a little. I just want to stay and have a good time. I like you. Like, all right, you sweet old tumor.
So yeah, they stay and they sort of squeeze themselves into political power for throughout the 1700s by putting over 500 factories into the country and hiring a bunch of locals for their army.
What kind of factories? Because people are thinking probably like 18th century.
This is before the
1800s Industrial Revolution
Yeah, it's
factories.
before that.
We're probably talking like what, textile mills,
Yes.
that type of shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the London office of the East India Company didn't concern itself with Indian politics. As long as trade continued, the board was happy and didn't interfere since there was very little communication between London and the branch offices, obviously, because it would take like 3 months to get a fucking letter. It was left to the branch officer to write the laws governing the company cities like Bombay, Calcutta.
It should be noted that, they named those cities too.
Yeah.
Those cities weren't named Bombay and Calcutta. That's why Calcutta's not Calcutta anymore.
What's Calcutta now?
I forget. And Bombay's not Bombay. Bombay is Mumbai.
Mumbai, yeah.
But Calcutta changed its name back, or either that or we were just referring to it incorrectly, like when I was in grade school, because that's where Sister Teresa was.
Oh. That's a Catholic
was in
stuff.
Calcutta.
Fucking A.
Man, wow, in Catholic grade school, fuck, dude, our fucking nun principal would come down. She was great. Sister Rosella was the best. But she would come down and always talk about Sister Teresa, or Mother Teresa, sorry. And it was just like the picture painted was so grim that I was like, India sounds fucking terrifying. It's just like everyone on the street has leprosy.
Right. It's just like it's the plight.
Yeah.
The entirety of it.
Like if you're just walking down the street in India, you'll catch leprosy.
Typhoid,
That's
something.
Literally 6th grade me, 100% thought that.
Well, so this company's in India for 200 years, and we'll get to a point where they do some really shady shit in India.
Oh, are we gonna talk about it, or are we just gonna slavery it?
We're gonna talk about it, but it happens over such a long period of time that we're gonna get back to it.
Okay.
It circles back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So meanwhile, in the 17th century, because I still want to kind of like, they did so many terrible things that I'm trying to like do this in like a timely fashion. Like, so
yeah, Dan,
take care of the 1600s, then 1700s.
Dan showed me the amount of terrible shit he had on paper before the episode started. He's like, I could probably do 2 episodes on this.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're just going to gloss over everything like slavery for the episode, not in general.
You know what we're talking about.
You know what we're talking
You can
about.
imagine.
People are property. Property are
I actually
people.
don't know much about the African slave trade being used in the East, or was it just they got involved in the normal like Atlantic slave trade and we're just pumping them over to North America?
That's what it was. It was them going to Africa.
Western
I mean, they
hemisphere stuff.
pretty
I
much.
was gonna say, like, I didn't know anything about. I'm sure there were Africans in India to some extent, but I didn't know if it was more than negligible.
Right. So meanwhile, 17th century, Portugal and Spain kind of fall off, and the EIC's main competition was the Dutch, who already had like kind of an established company over in the East as well.
I believe they ran Sri Lanka for sure.
Yeah.
And
They also pretty prominent in the West Indies as well.
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
And like they kind of just poked the bear. They just kind of provoked the Dutch for no reason.
the Dutch, not a big country, but a rich country.
Yeah.
And full disclosure, my favorite country to play in Empire Total War is the Dutch.
They would start passing out pamphlets about the Dutch and just kind of like ran a huge smear campaign against the Dutch, saying that they would kind of what we would call waterboard, so like their slaves and their captees, and they would burn their armpits and assholes on fire.
What was the British's brag here? We're only the second meanest to our slaves.
Yeah. We don't burn their butts.
Yeah.
Like, what a weird thing
Because
to
we
come up
talked about in the La Laurie episode is that the French they're still slaves, still horrible, all that stuff, but the French treatment of slaves was much more equitable than as much as equitable as you can be to a slave than the English system and apparently the Dutch system.
with. Yeah.
This would be like Coke, though, saying that Pepsi waterboards their employees or something.
Yeah, like
Because
Pepsi
again, these
right.
are not nations; these are fucking companies.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Are the Dutch a democracy at this point? 'Cause by the time of the American Revolution, they are a democracy.
So all of this kind of mudslinging pretty much causes the Anglo-Dutch Wars, which is technically 4 different wars from 1652 to 1784, but it's fought entirely on the sea for the most part, and it's between these two companies. It's not really even...
So it's essentially like a proxy war like the U.S. and Soviet Union had, where they'd kind of, one side would kind of fight the other side, but in like dumb little ways, like in Vietnam and Afghanistan and Korea, and
Just on the open ocean, yeah.
yeah.
Fun.
Proxy wars, essentially.
Wouldn't it be wars?
Kind
If
of.
they're directly conflicting with each other in the ocean, it's still a war. It's not proxy.
If they don't want to tangle on land in Europe, it's not a real war.
I don't know if I agree with you, but okay.
I don't need you to agree with me.
No, I mean, if the countries are directly fighting each other, there's nothing proxy about it.
They're just kind of like...
You're misusing the
Tickling
word
each other.
proxy. Sure, it's not a full-fledged land war, but it's still...
Right. And I mean, during the 1700s, they get in these fights with the Dutch, the French.
Oh, they're just constantly at war.
Yeah.
This is all of what you're describing is essentially what happened from essentially post-Spanish Armada up until the end of World War I. And that's why they didn't think World War I was going to be such a big deal, because they were like, oh, here we go again.
And it's all kind of, they kind of get away with what they do because obviously the British are kind of distracted. Like the government is like, oh no, we got a few wars to fight.
Well, the English Civil War goes on in this time.
Yeah.
The 1680s, I believe? 1660s, 1680s, something like that.
Let's look it up real quick.
Is that the one
Warriors.
regarding the seat of the monarchy?
Yeah, 1651. 1642 to 1651.
And then the Glorious Revolution, I think, was the 1680s or something like that.
Yeah.
Which was just another English Civil War, but like no one died. But everyone, it was like a Mexican standoff, or I don't know.
Back to India. 1695. The EIC was still financially recovering from that war that they lost.
To the empire in India?
To the Mughals, yeah.
To the Mughals.
Okay.
And they had seen its annual imports drop from a peak year in 1684 of 800,000 pounds to just 30,000 pounds in 1695.
Yikes.
Mainly because of pirates.
Pirates? Yeah. They lost that much money because of pirates?
Pirates fucked their shit up in
Dude,
India.
tell me about it. They went from 800,000 to 30?
They robbed them.
They got fucked, man. Like that's terrible.
It's
What happened to all the
essentially-
soldiers?
It's the South Park, and it's gone.
Yeah, dude. Like what happened? Just pirate? Were they just being soft? Like, all right, pirates.
From my understanding of the East India Trading Company, they had a lot of highs and lows.
Yeah, clearly.
Well,
Pirates
in
fucked them
terms
up.
of- not even in terms of just like, oh, the pirates did it. Like they hit lows, and then shit like that would happen. So that was my.
They're also terrible with their finances. They constantly have to be like bailed out by the British Parliament because
That sounds familiar.
from what they wrote or what I read was that a lot of the guys cooking their books and writing and just keeping track of their finances were like interns.
So they just didn't know what they were doing.
Just imagine Bob Cratchit and fucking Scrooge is, Bob Cratchit's there with a a little candle. He's cold.
Right.
And he's like writing in his ledger, and Scrooge is just like.
Right.
Yeah, the accountants were essentially like a low level employee.
So like, imagine me doing the books for just fucking like
Amazon?
Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not a good idea.
Well, back then, you had to. It wasn't just calculating, but like, you had to write everything down like 5 fucking times.
Yeah,
That's
true.
bitch work.
Right.
Your fucking wrist hurts and shit.
Yeah, it's
And
not like you're typing it in a spreadsheet.
And it's
Yeah.
not even like you just have a normal pen. You're dipping the quill in ink every 20 seconds.
Scribbling. God, that's annoying as shit.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we don't
Just
do
so
that
you can
stuff.
afford a goose.
So we're gonna focus on one pirate in particular here. His name is Henry Avery.
Lucky you.
Also goes by John Avery. Has a bunch of aliases,
Yeah.
but his name's Henry Avery.
I just say lucky you because it was easy to pronounce.
I know, but the ship he takes is not. So I'm gonna struggle. So the ship is the Ganji Sawi. I think that's the name. I don't know.
That's the name.
Means mother of four.
Motherfucker.
And
So this is a Indian ship that, historically speaking, is the richest ship ever taken by pirates.
whoa.
Yeah, you said this is an Indian ship?
It's an Indian ship, full of jewels and rubies, pearls,
The usual.
silver, gold. It carried a total value up to 600,000 pounds during its time.
So what is that?
Well, if 30,000 pounds was 4 million, then I don't know. Do the math.
It's just 30 times 20. 30,000. So what's 4 million times 20?
80 million?
So it's worth $80 million.
Damn.
I could have totally fucked that up, but I think it's worth $80 million.
I'm trusting you. I'm not
Yeah.
doing fast
I'm
math
not
right
doing
now.
the math. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not. We're
So
not.
that's
math
like
guys.
if you.
It's not.
It's
soft.
like if you found like Jeff Bezos driving to a fucking Whole Foods
He just took
and
what
you
was in
took
his
his
car.
like third best debit card.
Yeah. Free money.
Yeah.
But yeah, Henry Avery was a just former British captain in the Navy.
Well, we talked about this.
Turned pirate. Kind of standard.
We
for
talked
the
about
time.
this before. Here's what you did. You joined the British Navy to essentially, and there was basically 3 options. You spent your whole life in the Navy. Option 1. Or there's 4 options. Option 2, you become a company man.
Yeah.
And you just sail privately. Option 3, you're a drunk hobo.
Drinking sailor gin,
Yeah. And option 4 is you start your own small business.
which is piracy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have all the skills from the British Navy.
Yes,
Right.
you are trained militarily, so you just go become a terrorist.
And single-handedly almost bankrupt one of the largest corporations in the world.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if I equate this to Dan earlier. It's like Google. You know, like everyone works for Google, but then they leave to start their own company.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
to appease locals and obviously India, who just got this massive ship full of goods kind of just, taken from under them, the government issues...
Which government?
Or not, the EIC.
Okay.
They put out a declaration that Every and pirates are enemies of the human race.
Oh.
And they issue a 500-pound bounty on Every's head, offered a free pardon to any informer who disclosed his whereabouts, and then they upped that to 1,000 pounds. And this was actually the first worldwide manhunt in recorded history.
So could I go back to something real quick?
Sure.
Called them enemies of the human race.
Yes.
You know what that gives me big vibes of?
What?
Axis of Evil,
Yeah.
which plays into our shit don't change theme. Because
We're not original now.
nothing's
Never.
original.
Absolutely not.
Axis of Evil, enemies of the human race. Of the human race.
Yeah.
Like,
Pirates-
imagine if someone hacked, again, I just gotta go back to Amazon, because these people are like Amazon. Imagine someone just hacked the shit out of Amazon, and Jeff Bezos was like, people aren't getting their groceries. These are enemies of the human race.
Yeah, you're causing starvation.
I'd be like, I don't know, man. I think they're just fucking you.
Yeah, maybe you should up the security.
You're right. Anyway, shit don't change.
Yep.
Yeah.
They grant Every no amnesties, no pardons, no matter what. He ends up kind of sheltering himself in the Atlantic colonies, never actually gets caught.
Where in the Caribbean?
In the
Caribbean?
Caribbean. The Caribbean. Just kind of lives off that bounty he stole.
Why would you keep working?
Yeah, you hit the jackpot. That's the last job.
You fucking,
Yeah.
seriously.
That's
What else do you need to do?
Is constantly on the run, and he's never caught, but they never really explain where he ends up.
He ends up dead in a brothel at 65.
Yeah.
Literally more rum than man. Covered in just filth.
and gold.
Yeah. Lived as good of a life as you could live for what? The
A pirate?
17th century?
A pirates.
16, yeah. How else does a pirate want to die?
Pirate goes that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He basically, that's the pirate equivalent of Mario getting the star.
Yeah.
And then just running until
But
he
the star
falls.
doesn't run out.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
star doesn't run out until you fall down like a hole.
Yeah.
which he did.
He fell into a hole.
Quite a few.
Quite a few.
Yeah. A lot of holes.
1700s, the company grows to 159 people in the London offices who are in charge of multiple regions.
They're
with,
keeping that salary low.
I mean,
a lot of people. Hey, what? Half those got to be interns, right?
yes, 159 people in the London office who are in charge of millions of civilians of different races in different parts of the world, 250,000 soldiers, several regimes who are not super pumped that they were there to begin with all over the world. During this time frame, they're constantly being bailed out by the British government with loans because they were terrible with money, as I said earlier.
They're just yellowing it.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. This company's already spanned like 150 years, but no human life has. So these people are getting richer and getting older and YOLOing, and then the company gets fucked, and then they get bailed out because they've got too many fucking fingers and too many pies.
They're doing what every startup does, and they spend way too much money early, but they last so long that they almost become kind of like a respected.
They're an
It's a name.
institution.
It's an institution.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can't let that die.
They go from spending too much money to just being too big to fail.
Literally, multiple times.
Several times.
And the other nice thing too is that they've lasted so long that the people mad about the first bailout are dead by the second bailout.
Yeah.
So who's mad? They can't be
And
mad.
it's not like they're
No one's like, again?
The records aren't on like a digital record.
Right.
It's a parchment that probably is on fire somewhere.
Yeah.
Or gone. Yeah.
And they keep getting into wars with the Dutch and the French and these Indian governments because of the aggression of the EIC.
The actual English do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the entire country has to go to war on behalf of this company several times.
Man, I just want to read the like justifications for that in English publications at the time. Like it's all duty. They're our company. Like they're a part of us.
Yeah.
Like because I can imagine that now. Maybe not so with Amazon or Google.
Well, I mean, for instance,
but if like Walmart or something.
I think a perfect example would be like Airbus and Boeing, for instance.
Yeah.
Like because there's, what was it? There was some sort of illegal subsidies being given to Airbus, I want to say, in Europe, and it was making it hard for Boeing to compete.
Yeah.
And so we sued, and then like I think the EU countersues, or I don't even know how that level of
business
business
is
works.
all up in the ass of every American fucking tech company.
Right. So I mean, yeah, that shit still happens. It's just not in a level like all-out warfare.
Yeah.
It's legal strong arming, but
Well, it's called what? Gray zone, where it's between peace and war, I believe is the term. I don't know. You could probably correct me.
I'm not sure.
If Dan was here, you'd
Whatever.
correct me. Yeah. So the Battle of Plassey in 1757 pitted 50,000 Indian soldiers against just 3,000 company men.
Gonna have to assume only really one side had guns.
No, that's not true.
Oh, both sides?
Both sides had guns.
Was one side more technologically advanced?
No, there's a backroom deal that happens with Indian bankers. So most of the Indian army refuses to fight at Plassey.
Oh, even better.
Yes.
yeah, easy war.
And that's not to say, look, I'm not like being like, oh, India, they're like primitive. They didn't have the guns. Like, they weren't inventing the best rifles and muskets at the time.
No, but this man,
Europe was.
This dude by the name of Robert Clive, strikes up a backroom deal with these Indian bankers. Pretty much, they win by default. Guys just throw down their guns.
So they bought them out?
They bought them out. They bought out these soldiers.
Well,
Classic diplomacy,
why
guys.
not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Clive's victory gave the East India Company broad taxation powers in Bengal.
Bingo. Yeah.
Then one of the richest provinces in India. Clive plundered the treasures and shipped it back to London, keeping plenty for himself. And this was a seismic shift for the East India Company in 1757, where they go from becoming a trading company to really taxing the shit out of any area they kind of take over.
I don't know what I don't personally remember what the turning point is, but this sounds like it, because there was, like, when the British showed up to India, like, there were empires there. Like, they were big, like, you couldn't just walk in and fuck with them. And at some point, they became very fuck-withable. Mm-hmm. And this might have been that.
This is where they completely changed their business model from focusing on trade to just focusing on tax collection.
So they did what British had been doing for hundreds of years, which is lording over other people and collecting taxes from them. Yeah.
Not even in the name of the queen.
When you can just take money, tax a product.
Yeah.
They're the mafia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're taking protection.
They're just feudal pirates.
Yeah.
Even worse off in Bengal, there's a little thing called the Bengal famine of 1770,
Sweet.
which was actually engineered by the EIC.
Wait, they made a famine?
Yeah.
What'd they do?
So a third of the population they oversaw died. They forced farmers to grow inedible, high-value crops like indigo and poppy. The surplus couldn't be set aside for hard times, but it wasn't the sort of thing you fed your family on.
That's the same thing that happens in that people complain about now and have
With corn?
for a long. No, not with corn. For a while in South America, where just farmers are more inclined to grow cash crops than they are food.
And
it's a cash crop.
They're also charging peasant farmers 50% of their cash harvest, even up to 60% to help recover some of the losses of the taxation of those dead peasants.
Jesus.
Once they kind of upped the tax once people started dying.
It's like, hey, there's not enough people making revenue, so we're taking more of yours.
10 million people died, but the East India Company had a banner year with high profits and record high profits. Yeah.
Bottom line, baby.
They would go on, not so much the East India Company. I had to look this up because I'm pretty sure. But I want to double check. They would go on to use these tactics on good old Ireland.
Always comes back.
They caused the Irish
dude.
potato. Like, it was more. Yeah. It wasn't so much a blight as it was just the English being assholes that caused the Irish potato famine.
Yeah, that checks out. The English being assholes to the Irish pretty much always checks out.
I always like to say, although the Irish potato famine happened after, I always like to say that the English kind of perfected their colonialism on the Irish.
They're right there.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah, it's a good practice.
It's easy.
It's a practice court.
Yeah.
And then, then they go export it around the world.
Yeah.
In 1784, British Parliament passes the William Pitt's India Act.
This is in the midst of the American Revolution, I believe.
Yep, and we'll touch on the American Revolution a little bit, but just kind of wrapping this up. Parliament kind of saw enough with this famine that they're like, all right, you guys, it's time. We have some British oversight.
All right, let's let them eat.
Yeah.
All right.
So the
pretty skinny.
British government took any of the East India Company's landholdings in India, and it was then under British rule rather than the EICs.
So what you're saying is the English actually did not colonize India for the first 150. It was really
It was a company.
It was an English company that did it, and then England was like, all right, we're taking over.
Yeah.
We know how to govern better.
And you know what's weird, by the way? What, 1780 something?
1784.
Still a monarchy, but not quite as absolute as it was when the EIC started.
Well, there's a parliamentary procedure, I'm imagining, at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
George III was not the same absolute monarch that Elizabeth I was.
Right.
At all.
Around this time, it was a commercial stagnation and trade depression throughout Europe. Directors of the EIC attempted to avert bankruptcy by appealing to Parliament for financial help again. This led to the passing of the Tea Act in 1773, which gave the company greater control over American colonies and allowed it an exemption from tea import duties, which colonial competitors had to pay.
Okay, so the EIC has basically gotten the UK into every conflict and probably lost them America.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, because that's kind of like one of the foundational things, like the whole taxing problem.
Taxation without representation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the American companies that are importing tea had to pay a tax, but EIC would never have to pay a tax when they exported their tea to the Americas.
It makes it non-competitive.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's not very capitalist.
Yeah.
American colonies boycott the tea. The price of tea actually drops because of the act, but it also validated the Townshend Acts.
Townsend.
Is that what? Townsend?
How do you spell it?
Yeah, it's Townsend Act. You're right.
Townsend.
Setting the precedent for the king to impose additional taxes in the future.
We're under the history category, which is like an academic category.
I told you.
And 3 times today we've been like, how do you spell it?
I can't say things right. Like, this is well established. All
Mother
right?
of God.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously, this triggers the Boston Tea Party, Providence of Massachusetts Bay.
It triggers a very problematic Boston Tea Party where they dress up like Native Americans.
Yeah. We should cancel this.
There's a lot of problematic things that happen pre-revolution that inspire the revolution. For example, a justified police shooting.
Talking about the massacre?
Oh, the Boston Massacre? 100% justified.
Guess who they shoot first? A black man.
They don't shoot him first. He's just one of the many that catch.
Well,
one.
he's also Native American, but
yeah, I'm gonna do that one day, and it's hilarious because it's like when you read about it, you're like, oh yeah, I'd shoot them too. Even though they're the Americans, I'd do it. They were being fucking nightmares.
Why were they being nightmares?
Clip it.
Yeah.
Because of the tea.
Yeah.
I guess. Actually, maybe yes. It might have been. I don't remember. But yeah, man, the Boston Massacre's wild. Hey, John Adams got them off. John Adams got those soldiers off.
It's weird.
In more ways than one.
Are you suggesting that John Adams sexually placated those guys?
Oh, all like fucking 14 of them?
Yeah.
Well, you had to do a lot of different stuff when you were a lawyer.
I want to see historically accurate
John Adams porn?
Yeah, it's like, all right, boys.
Just like a stubby man being like, oh, yeah.
All right, whip out your coats and take off your
I don't know that I want
belt
to see
buckles.
John Adams blowing anyone. I honestly...
No, he'd be jerking them off.
I honestly did find Paul Giamatti's sex scene with Laura Linney pretty good in the John Adams miniseries. That was in like episode 5, though.
I haven't seen that, actually.
4, maybe. He was in France. It was during the Revolution, and she came, and they just fuck
I
immediately.
I like
Why would they fuck if she already came?
Hey,
Ooh. I like 1776, I believe, is the one where Mr. Feeney is John Adams.
Yeah, maybe.
R.I.P.
Yeah. He
He's
also,
alive, I thought.
No, Mr.
nice
Feeney's
call
dead.
out in Boy Meets World. This is lame as hell, but they go to John Adams High School.
They do.
And Mr. Feeney plays John Adams in
And
1776.
it's in Philadelphia, yeah.
Yeah, that's weird though, because John Adams is not from Philadelphia. He's a Bostonian.
Interesting. Whatever. I don't care. That's not my fun fact.
So yeah, they have a hand.
Saltpeter.
They have a hand in the American Revolution.
When causing it.
Pretty much fuck up India, and let's get to China, shall we?
Man, we haven't even touched China yet?
No.
China's where the fun stuff happens.
None of that whatever slavery stuff. But,
Yeah.
you know.
You know, they're slave traders. They're pirates. Now we're getting into drug dealers.
Hell yeah. Opium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just nothing.
Let's not
that
spoil
the
the
East India
surprise.
Company
If you
didn't
don't know
do.
opium is coming when
Right.
China
Yeah,
and
you
drug trade
Yeah.
get mentioned in the
What
same
else do you
sentence.
think? Like they're slinging fucking coke in fucking 17th century China, or
Which is
18th
great
century-
because 17th, 18th, 19th centuries, China is actually pretty reluctant to actually open its borders to foreign powers.
Smart.
Great call.
So China and Japan both. Japan was later. Actually, the Americans were the ones that forced Japan to open with Admiral Perry during the Civil War.
Right. I believe Tom Cruise goes over as the last samurai.
No. It's actually Chandler Bing. His name was Admiral Matthew Perry.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so it was Chandler. Chandler opened Japan.
Was he also strung out on opiates the entire time? Or
Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, both China and Japan later, because Japan saw what happened to China, both China and Japan were like, China particularly, because both were like real, like strong, relatively modernized countries, and that had already had enough contact to like know that these people weren't like from heaven, or like the Aztecs literally thought that Cortez was a god. That's not me being like, oh, like, you know, the Aztecs are dumb. Like they actually thought that. But the Chinese and Japanese were like, I've heard about these guys and fuck them.
They're dicks.
Yeah, they seem like fucking dicks. And we'd rather be dicks to our own people than let them be dicks to all of us.
Guys, this is going to end up bad.
Yeah. So EIC establishes a monopoly of trade with China. There was an imbalance of trade, however, as the Chinese needed far fewer British items than the British desired. As a result of
What were the British trying to sell them?
well,
Because China gave Britain tea.
Yeah.
So
yeah. What does the British
tea.
export?
is this? I see where this is going. By the way,
Yeah.
we've got to create a demand.
Got to create a demand. So you know, you hit that black market, and you know you already have a foothold in India,
And Afghanistan and Pakistan, which
and
is actually
you
where the
know
poppies are
where
grown, I
you
think.
can produce a lot of opium.
In the Hindu Kush.
And guess who needs that demand? Who
Well,
wants
they
that
don't
demand?
need it.
Well, they don't need it, but
They
Why wouldn't?
super don't need it.
it's outlawed. So, but in like the early 1700s, China outlaws opium. But
The addiction situation there it makes the most redneck part of Ohio look like the most Mormon church in Utah. I don't know how else to put that.
Just to give credence to the drug we're talking about, it's pretty addictive.
I get that.
Yeah.
And they still went fucking crazy for it.
Yeah, it's
Because
just,
there's no
that's straight opium.
there's no real anti-education. There might be just people saying don't do it or it's bad to do it, but there's no real like persuasive anti-education.
Yeah, 'cause
there's no pervasive anti-education.
Right, because if some town elders like don't do that, it's bad. Then you take a hit of just straight opium out of a pipe. You're like, fuck you, old man.
It's just not it's not the fucking same.
so
No.
it's illegal in China, but in the rest of the world, the EIC has the exclusive rights to be able to sell opium.
That's a great trade.
Yeah, I mean, people, by the way, are smoking opium in the UK as well, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah, and they smuggle it into China through the black market. Companies, investors grow rich, and millions of Chinese men waste away in opium dens.
Like millions.
Where
Like
dodgeball was
millions.
created.
Like legitimately, they were all like,
To the point where it triggers a war in 1840.
Yeah, there was an opium war.
it was called the
War.
Opium War,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, dude, it's to the point where, so a lot of times people call the French generation that fought in, I think it was specifically with the French generation that fought in World War I, because so many people died, young men died in that war. They call it like the lost generation. But like really like, dude, how many fucking Chinese men in particular probably were lost to opium?
And then
this is like
fixed
the lost,
that problem.
It's like the lost generations.
And then the British fucked them up royally in the Opium Wars. Just destroy them.
It's not easy to shoot a gun when you're barely awake.
When you're nodding off from a nice opium toke. Yeah.
When you're just think about that next fucking.
Yeah, I can't think of a drug I'd rather have my enemy on than opium, or I guess heroin.
Yeah, I mean, same
Same
thing.
fucking
Yeah,
thing,
it's
yeah.
an opiate. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
that's why
not
the
in-
Nazis did meth.
Yeah.
That's the drug you want your enemy least on.
Right.
Right.
Because they're nuts. Or basols.
That's why current soldiers take ripped fuel, which is just meth.
Sick. Is that state sponsored?
Like the United States,
We give them meth?
we give them like
Adderall, right?
hardcore uppers. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called ripped fuel. I forget what it's made of, but dude, they talk about it in Generation Kill all the time. Fucking Dan Holloway just our boss who does the Drinking Bros podcast was just talking about how they do lines of ripped fuel sometimes.
Awesome. I'm looking that up.
Well, it doesn't compare to Cardomax, so go ahead and...
Well, what could?
Yeah, what could?
What is that?
It's our sponsor. Well, not for this podcast yet, but maybe one day. Anyway, so they destroy the Chinese and actually force China to pay $15 million in restitution to British
It
merchants.
should be noted, this happens in the 1840s, talking about the Opium War.
Yeah.
By this point, the British Army is really fucking good.
Yeah.
In 13 years, they're about to beat the shit out of Russia in the Crimean War. I mean, this is like probably peak. I would say like the American Revolution to we'll call it actually to World War II is peak British Army.
And they get to keep Hong Kong.
Yeah. That's
It's
how
a
they got
great
Hong
get.
Kong.
Yeah.
Great get. Guys. It's a great get. That's a 5-star prospect.
By 1850, we'll go back to India. So again, India's kind of all over they have India for 200 plus years. India was pretty collectively sick of the East India Company by this time. It only
weird.
It only took 200
I'm
years.
just tired of getting fisted with.
Oh, that little tumor? That little tumor grew up into a big tumor?
Yeah, well, that little tumor. that little
tooth.
rascal.
That little tooth. Sprout more teeth.
Better.
Yeah.
So this is actually a statement in
That mole is actually just another human being.
1856. This is a statement from the Earl of Albemarle. I don't know.
How do you spell it?
I'm not going to say.
You said it right. Leave him alone.
It's Albemarle. Let it be.
What do you say?
Stop kicking that dead donkey. Danny Donkey. So according to his testimony, the EIC practiced deprivation of food and water. They hindered men from their sleep. They hung a necklace of bones and other disgusting materials around their necks. This is a punishment offensive, obviously, to Hindus.
To anyone, hopefully.
Really offensive to any
Yeah,
human
But definitely,
being.
Yeah.
definitely Hindus.
There's no like place you can go.
It's like, oh,
Right.
thanks for the bone necklace.
Yeah. Like you're in
So nice
like
of
you're
you.
in Bulgaria and they're like, "Oh, you're wearing new human bones. You
Sick.
take that out of the leg just now? That's great."
That's
they
fantastic.
made men and women sit on their heels.
On their what?
Heels.
So bows and toes? Or
Bows
not
and
bows and
toe-
toes, wall sits. Kinda.
Pretty much wall sits.
Yeah.
They would put sharp stones under people's asses. They would strike the head of people who pretty much defied them anytime they talked. Pretty much they forced two people together to go in a stooping posture by the hair of their heads. So they're doing handstands for a long period of time.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess.
Is that not just yoga or no?
It's not yoga if it's not consensual.
Yeah, right.
It's torture.
Yeah, it's just torture. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is actually kind of what happens, and I don't think this would happen now, but you never fucking know. This is kind of just what happens when people just have free reign to do whatever they want to make money.
And they crucify people to trees.
Oh, they saved the kicker for last, huh?
They what? Sorry, what?
They pretty much crucify people to trees.
They
yeah.
nailed people to trees.
They didn't nail, it was rope. But same. I mean, Jesus
I
was the only person that got nailed.
I suppose, appreciate that they were such pieces of shit that they were like, fuck it, let's be sacrilegious too. In a time when being sacrilegious was like actually like a very punishable thing.
Yeah.
Like they were like, you know what? Fuck everything. fuck it all.
We're running drugs. We might as well crucify people.
Well, I only appreciate that in so much as at least they were just plain bastards.
Yeah, there was no like moral high ground they thought they were taking. Yeah.
It's not like I'm pretty sure like there's not like there might be an official rule, or there might be, but like no Christian, especially a like very devout Christian, is like down with crucifying someone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure killing's off the list in general. It's one of the big ones. Yeah.
We do kill people, but
kill
like for
quite a
example,
few.
I don't think the Spanish Inquisition
They were crucifying people.
They weren't crucifying people.
Yeah, the last time they crucified a Jew, like
Might need to fact check that, but yeah.
you don't want another one of them running around.
But that's not actually what it causes an uprising in India. In 1857, though, they start handing out their soldiers that work for the company that are Indian cartridges that are coated with animal fat.
Oh.
And obviously that product is both against Hindu and Muslim law.
Not all animal fat is a cat.
I think it's like pig and cow. Yeah.
Is that for the Hindus?
The Hindu and Muslims have different things.
Well, I mean, still,
I just assume they piss off both groups.
Well, I'm sure, like, too, that the Hindus are probably, they're already,
The Hindus would be the bigger. So Muslims.
if they're handing it off to the Hindus, so they're probably using it against Pakistani side
No,
forces?
Pakistan is part of India at this point.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But also,
Damn.
so I
Yeah,
would
are
think
you
it would
right?
have to be cow fat because. All right, so here's the two
Are they
options.
just pulling,
Here's the
like,
two options.
dick moves?
Here's the two options. It's cow fat, and it pisses off the soldiers because the soldiers are Hindu, and they would be employing, I assume, the Hindu soldiers because Muslims are a lower caste in India, like in general. That's not like I
No, there is a caste system.
Yeah,
Yeah. Even if they say there's not one anymore, there's still a caste system.
Yeah, Muslims are very low caste in India. Hindus are the high caste. So either they have cow cartridges to piss off the soldiers, or they have pig cartridges for the Hindu soldiers to shoot the Muslim soldiers with, and that pisses off the Muslims.
Yeah. Either way, it's not good.
Yeah.
Or they just combine both animal fats.
Just to piss everybody off.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if they're crucifying people,
Fuck.
the trees were up, they're probably,
Yeah, they're not
yeah.
YOLO.
Yeah.
They're YOLOing everything. I mean, it's at this point, it's very clear the East India Company has no shame.
No,
Yeah.
they really don't. Again, I told you that's why we glossed over the slavery, because that pretty much is.
You know what's coming.
What do you want us to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do you want to
Wait,
say?
and
What do we
enslaved
have to
people.
add about it?
Yeah.
So yeah, 1857, India rebels against this company till July 1858, when peace is declared. After India kind of fights back and takes it back, the brutal response by the EIC resulted in deaths of hundreds of their soldiers and other Indians. But yeah, with this was kind of the last straw. This is the last stand of the East India Company. The British Parliament finally has an excuse to intervene once and for all and dismantle the company. The brutality and chaos of both sides of the revolt prompted the British government to take control of India in 1858, and in 1873, so like almost 15, 20 years later, the EIC is legally ceased to exist with the East India Stock Dividend Redemption Act of 1873. And it goes into effect on the 1st of January, 1874, dissolving the company completely.
Damn.
Man, I bet their founders were pissed.
They were dead.
Well, yeah, we're fucking 200 years dead.
Yeah.
300 years dead.
Long running company.
Yeah.
Older than America
Yeah, still.
in
to this
age.
day.
In
Yeah.
age. Yeah.
1600 to 1874, 1873.
Yeah.
273 years old.
No, America's older than that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Almost
yeah.
as old as.
Almost
It's about
as
the
well-
same, I think.
Yeah.
How long was the Roman Empire?
1,000 years.
No.
Well, actually, if you want to count the Eastern Roman Empire, 2,000 years.
Shit.
It's a long one.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're like.
Although I kind of think the Eastern Roman Empire is distinct, although it is directly lineated from the Western Roman Empire or the Roman Empire. I kind of think it's kind of cheating.
Fair, I guess. I don't know. Goths, Vandals. I went on a deep dive on Goths.
Yeah.
There's not much to read.
Yeah.
They were barbarians.
But I mean,
Like, yeah.
pretty good for a company that all I knew before this was kind of I knew about their rap, but pretty much the only exposure I've had to them is in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
by pretty much you do mean only.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I was gonna say like all I know about the East India Trading Company is, or the East India Company is like tea and fucking opium.
but you have heard of them.
I have.
How could you not? Yeah, no, it's.
I think it's hilarious. They fucking ruined the America thing for the British.
They pretty much
British
they cost
Americans.
America, or they cost the British America.
Yeah, although I think England at the time, or the British at the time, like they didn't own the whole continent, or
No.
you know what I mean.
So those
they
colonies, sure.
The 13 American colonies were not, I don't think, that profitable.
If you could take 13 states
Bro,
out of the U.S., not a lot of those are making
Either
the
was
list.
like this company that
Yeah.
existed for
they were all
273
kinda
years.
just jacking around.
They were constantly
Yeah.
on the verge of bankruptcy. Always had to be bailed out by Parliament. And
How many times were they bailed out total?
I couldn't keep
You
count.
at least said 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, if you're bailed out once a century,
You're good back then.
well, that might be better than me. How many times has GM been bailed out? Or Ford, for that matter.
Ford took no bailout money
Oh,
in
that's
2008.
right. Yeah, Ford has principles there.
Yeah, I think they did something else way even more fucked up, or something they
Whatever.
can't campaign on. But I don't know. I drive Ford. Fuck it.
Do you?
Ford. Yeah, I
Hey,
have a Ford. Yeah, I almost ran you over with it in the parking lot.
That's true. You did almost hit me with a car, you son of a bitch.
And I like to think, this is in the past. No way that modern corporations could pull off some evil shit like this.
What are you talking about? Look at all the oil and gas.
But again,
development
the theme
in
of our
Africa.
podcast, shit don't change.
Have I told you my favorite conspiracy theory that I have no proof of?
Sure, let's hear it.
To talk about oil and gas, and well, obviously, like everyone is all in on like Halliburton and the Iraq War and stuff like that.
Of course,
they're
yeah.
very real connections there with Dick Cheney and everything.
Yeah, you can easily.
Yeah, it's not
Softball.
hard. I mean, it's easy. I don't know if there's anything happened, but it's very easy to see the connections.
Sure.
And not like you can. It's fair to assume things, or fair to be skeptical of.
Okay, now you're setting something up.
But anyway, I was going to say, my favorite conspiracy theory that I have no proof of is that oil companies somehow got car companies to make the first hybrid cars look super, for lack of a better word, just like feminine and gay.
Oh, like the Leaf and the.
And just the Prius in
The
general,
original
being
Prius.
being like an egg that you could get in pastel colors.
Yeah.
Like they did that on purpose so that no one would want, so that hybrid cars would seem not desirable.
Yeah, like if you look up what a current Prius, like if you think a current Prius looks ridiculous right now, look at what they looked like when they first came out.
Yeah.
It is an absurd looking car.
My conspiracy that I have no evidence of.
Yeah.
Is
No,
that-
that makes I would believe that. If someone told me that, like a report came out, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, like
is that
ExxonMobil was like,
they wanted to
fruit up those
they wanted
cars.
To
Yeah.
suppress the public urge to get it.
No, it's like when computers came out and they looked terrible.
And I think, and the other one, what I would say is they also, when there were normal looking hybrid cars, this could be just a market thing, but hybrid cars are typically more expensive to repair.
Yeah.
That could be a market thing, like, but maybe they also.
I think that has to do with just computer chips.
Yeah,
and
maybe they
shit
also
like that.
fudged that. I don't know, but I
Yeah.
do think that is my total no proof. I'm just throwing it out there. Thing is, they were like, yeah, let's make them look fucking as girly as possible, so that no one wants to get them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think honestly they probably could have accomplished that by just saying hybrid in it or like electric, mentioning electricity.
I
but-
feel like Francis Drake right now. How did we get here? That was his whole kind of,
Well, I'm
theme.
just saying, East India Company, it's conspiracy shit.
yeah, dude, we're talking
Fuck,
conspiracy
just fucked
stuff.
up, not conspiracy shit, fucked up company shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, look,
Yeah, who's more evil, East India Company or Enron?
East India
Yeah,
Company.
probably
yeah,
the same
absolutely,
thing.
without question. I mean, I would say like a comparable thing would probably be
East
Tesla.
India Company or
Enron
Nike.
murdered a couple thousand
Yeah,
401ks.
Yeah, Nike with Uyghur stuff or
The NBA with Uyghur
Uyghur
stuff, for that
yeah.
matter.
But or like even for instance,
Disney with Uyghur stuff.
like yeah, anyone with Uyghur stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also like think about like Elon Musk's family. Were they like just brutal emerald miners or something like that? Like
I
Dutch
think
emerald
he
miners
came
in
from
Africa?
South Africa.
Like a lot of blood.
Apartheid money,
Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of blood diamonds.
Yeah,
Blood
yeah.
minerals. Yeah.
His family, it does come from a white family in South Africa that, didn't grow up poor at all and had apartheid, benefited from apartheid. I don't really know Elon Musk's history well, but that wouldn't surprise me at all.
No, I mean that, or like even there's like, I mean, I would say, I don't know if it's Shell or Exxon.
That'd be the Dutch we were talking about.
Yeah, those Dutch folks. But like oil companies in Africa totally exploit the locale and take over and fucking ruin water and shit like that. I mean, that shit happens. It's not at all new.
That's why Akon's there to save it.
Akon is making
Wakanda.
Wakanda?
Yeah, Akon City.
Akonda.
With
Akonda.
A-Coin.
Yeah.
A-Coin. That's actually
Wait,
great.
are we doing final thoughts here? Are we doing lessons learned?
Yeah, sure. What did you learn from today's episode, other than I'm dyslexic?
I learned that, a company will do what it needs to do. In this way, a corporation
stay
is
in the green.
Corporations are people in this way. They will do what they need to do to get as much as they can.
Yeah. They're resource hoarders.
Yeah. You gotta
have faith.
Do you think they ever lived up to the original vision of the 6 guys that started the company out of
I think they exceeded
Thomas Smith's house?
They exceeded their wildest expectations.
Can you imagine the first trip that they brought back just a bunch of stolen gold? They're like, fuck yeah.
Oh my God.
This is great.
You got a boat full of what?
Awesome. It's shiny.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I actually assume that the first people that founded the company couldn't even fucking fathom what happened eventually. Not the human atrocities, but just the widespreadness of it. Because
they go from
that would be
simple
us-
spice
that would be
traders.
Like us now, free. If I froze myself now and woke up in 250 years, and people were like, "Are you surprised to see that we have 8 New Yorks on Mars?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm really fucking surprised by that.
Yeah.
That's fucking bananas."
Was not expecting 8.
Yeah.
Nor 1,
That's
really.
fucking wild.
Yeah. Well, that's
What
what
was
we
your
learned.
takeaway, Jake?
My takeaway, I mean, obviously, top 1 takeaway with every episode: shit don't change.
Shit don't change.
Yeah, that. But I do find it interesting that basically I always had this idea of British or English colonization as being like a top of the government effort to colonialize different places. I realized it kind of started with some fuckboys and their business ships, business boys.
Well, that's how. I mean, that's what John Smith was.
I know, but
That's not what I guess Plymouth Colony was.
what I'm saying though too is considering. No, that's wrong. Because Native Americans did really have cities and government set up before the ransacking. There was obviously, I think a lot of Native American cultures got.
I mean, all of North America for sure got kind of hit by a pandemic.
Well,
right before we showed up. But there were,
that forced people into nomad shit.
Yeah. I mean, there was a outside of St. Louis, it's called the Cahokia Mounds. There was a pyramid city.
Oh, they're all over Mississippi and shit
in the
too.
1200s. Yeah. So there was a whole Mississippian culture, but it just ebbed and flowed.
Yeah,
there.
sure.
But in the 1200s, there was a full ass fucking city across the river from St. Louis, modern St. Louis. Yeah, it was a city, a full city culture and everything, and then just it went away and
shit happens.
At the time, we Europeans showed up at a kind of opportune time, I guess you could say, because they were kind of down on their luck.
Right. So I'm saying that's a little different than the East India Company showing up to an empire and fucking shit up.
No, yeah, the East India Company showed up to the Mughal Empire was a full ass strong empire.
Yeah, so
that they lost to, and then got a second chance because they're you're cool.
You can't let that tumor stay.
Yeah, so what I learned is if you manage to beat down a colonial empire on your turf, don't let them pitch a tent.
Probably kick them out.
Can I just
one tent, please?
Please, just a little.
You need a bouncer.
Just gonna drink my gin.
You'd be like, no, you can't have anything. Get out. Just
please leave.
Yeah.
We fought a war. Go.
We're not cool, man.
Oh, no,
yeah.
Can we come back every once in a while and get some of your tea or something? No, just get out. Just leave.
That's it.
For Dan Jester.
No, hold on. What'd you learn, Dan?
What I learned?
Yeah.
I learned that a lot of these modern day corporations and a lot of the, obviously I deep dived a little bit more into the supply chain and just how the world works over the weekend with Evergreen and all these ships kind of getting stuck in the Suez Canal. But really, man, nothing has changed. Everything is just. It's insane how these countries and these companies will just kind of put forth profit over anything else.
The more you read history, like truly, especially when you get deep into it, like even just write a book on it, like read a book on anything. Like I'm reading a book right now on from the fall of Rome to the rise of the Islamic Empire, and like I just read things, and I'm just like, that is exactly what people do now.
And the impact that it has on the entire world, like. We'll feel the effects in the next, just from one tiny boat being stuck in one little ass canal.
Oh, yeah, dude.
It's going to impact the entire world for 1 to 5 years. Like, it's
absurd.
Absurd. But then you have an entire company that kind of takes over the world and dictates what it is now. So,
shit don't change.
Shit don't change. And for that, I am Dan Regester. Thank you to Jake Goldman and Rob Fox. And you just got soft served.